Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Story Time channel. I am Pallavi reading interesting stories for you. Last session we took the Finding Dory part 1. In this session we will conclude the Finding Dory part 2. Now, before going to the story, please like, share, and subscribe. Now, let's go to the story. Dory was tipped from the bucket into a large pool, and Hank followed close behind. The pool was home to a giant whale shark called Destiny, who couldn't see very well and often swam into walls. Her neighbor was a beluga whale called Bailey. He was at the MLI because he had bumped his head. He thought he had lost his echolocation ability, which helped him to see things that were far away. Destiny realized that she had known Dory when they were young. Dory had lived in the open ocean exhibit and they used to talk to each other through the pipes. Dory had to get to the open ocean exhibit. She was sure that's where her parents would be. On their way to the open ocean exhibit, Dory led Hank in the wrong direction and they ended up in touch pool. Small and grabby hands came at them from above. It was terrifying. Hank hid under a rock and wouldn't come out. I'm sorry, Hank, said Dory. I'm sorry, I can't remember right. Just then, Dory remembered that she had once said the same thing to her parents. Her mother had said that Dory didn't need to be sorry. You know what you need to do, Dory's mother had said. Just keep swimming. Hank, we have just got to keep swimming, Dory cried. But Hank still didn't want to move. I know you are scared, said Dory, but you can't give up. Follow me. Dory grabbed Hank's tentacle and they raced across the touch pool. But one of the children poked Hank. This caused his octopus ink to ooze out and turn the whole pool black. The kids all shouted in shock and ran away. Hank and Dory weren't in danger anymore. Wow, said Hank stern. You got us out of there. Meanwhile, outside in the bay, Merlin and Nemo had met a bird called Becky, who carried them into Amela inside a bucket. Merlin was terrified, but he knew it was only way to find Dory. Inside the Amelie, before reaching the exhibit, Becky spotted some spilled popcorn on the ground. She left Merlin and Nemo hanging on tree branch and flew down for a feed. Merlin nudged the bucket forward until the branch pulled under the weight, and two fish were flung into a tank at a gift shop. They didn't know what to do next. They were very worried about Dory. She would definitely have an idea of what to do if she were here, said Merlin. I don't know how she does that. I don't think she knows, Dad, said Nemo. She just does. Merlin knew that Nemo was right. What would Dory do? Asked Nemo. Merlin realized that Dory would simply look at the first thing she saw, and just then Merlin spotted a line of water jets leading to an outdoor pool exhibit. He sighed. Dory would do it, Nemo said with a smile. With that, father and son leaped towards the water jets. Each jet propelled them on the next until they landed safely in the exhibit. They made it. At that moment, Hank and Dory had finally reached the open ocean exhibit. Dory couldn't believe she was about to meet her parents. She turned to Hank. They are actually down there, aren't they? I hope I can find them. Knowing you, said Hank, I am liking your chances. Now go get your family. With that, Dory gave Hank her transport tag and Hank dropped her into the water. Dory swam down through the clear coral tank. At the bottom, she spotted a trail of shells just like the ones she remembered from her childhood. This was her home. Just then, Dory saw a purple shell near the entrance to a pipe. She remembered that her parents had warned her not to go near the pipe as the strong under row could carry her away. Dory remembered with a shock that she had tried to collect this purple shell for her mother and had been sucked into the pipe. It was my fault, Dory whispered. My parents. I lost them. Dory didn't Dory didn't know what to do next. This was her home, but there were no blue tanks here. A small crab told Dory that all the blue tanks had been taken to quarantine, ready to be shipped to an aquarium in Cleveland. What? No, Dory cried. But I just got here. The crab told Dory that it was easy to get to quarantine through the pipes. It's two lefts and a right, the crab said. Dory looked at the pipe entrance, gathered her courage, and squeezed through the grate into the darkness. Okay, she told herself, I can do this. Two lefts and a right. But before long, Dory forgot how many lefts she had already taken. She was lost. She began to panic. But then she remembered her friends Destiny and Bailey. She could call to them through the pipes. Destiny! Dory called in her best well voice. Dory! A voice answered. It was Destiny. Destiny had an idea. Bailey could use his echolocation to find Dory and give her direction. He just had to make an oo sound and echoes would come back to him from far away. It was like seeing a picture in his head. Bailey still believed his echolocation was broken, but Destiny soon convinced him to try. After a few attempts, it finally worked. He could see Dory and the whole pipe system. He began to give Dory direction. Dory followed Bally's direction and bumped straight into Merlin and Nemo. They had swam into the pipes to search for their friend. You found me, Dory cried. Merlin wanted them all to head home, but Dory stopped him. My parents are here, she said. You found your parents? Nemo asked, amazed. Dory explained everything that had happened, and the three of them made their way towards quarantine. The journey was much easier now that Dory had some company. Dory, Merlin, Nemo made it to quarantine and leaped into one of the tanks. They saw with a shock that the tank of the blue tanks had already been loaded on the truck to Cleveland. Suddenly, Hank appeared. Hank, we need to get in that tank, said Dory. That rhyme. Hank lifted Dory, Merlin, and Nemo into a coffee pot and put them into the tank on the truck. The other blue tanks recognized Dory, but they had sad news. Dory's parents had left the open ocean exhibit and come to quarantine years ago. Nobody knew where they were now. Doris was heartbroken. She drifted slowly back into the waiting coffee mug. Hank scooped it up and back out of the truck. Hank looked down into the coffee pot. Where's everybody else? He asked. Merlin and Nemo were still inside the truck. Before Hank could do anything else, a member of ML's staff grabbed him. The coffee pot fell to the floor. Dory spilled into a drain, which took her out of the MLA and back into the ocean. Once again, Dory was alone and lost. In the bay outside the MLI, Dory swam through the water with no idea what to do. She began to panic. She was scared that she would forget everybody again. But then Dory spotted something. It was a trail of shells. Dory liked shells, so she followed the trail. Just then, two shapes emerged from the darkness. It was her parents. Dory's parents had been creating shell pathway all this time in hope that Dory would see them and remember. It's you! It's really you! Cried Dory as she burst into tears. Oh, honey, you found us, said Dory's mom. And you know why you found us? Because you remember. You remember in your own amazing Dory way. Dory was so happy to be back with her family again. But she suddenly remembered Merlin and Nemo. She had to go back and save them. Dory and her parents rushed towards the MLI walls, but saw with horror that the truck was pulling away. Merlin and Nemo were inside. Dory swam round in a panic, trying to think of a plan. Suddenly she remembered her friends Destiny and Bailey. They could help. Destiny! Dory called in her well voice. Dory! Destiny answered. Bailey used his echolocation and saw that Dory was just outside the MLI. The two whales leaped over the wall and into the open ocean to help their little friend. Bailey used his echolocation to look for the truck. The friends raced after it and caught up just before a bridge. Dory had an idea. They had to stop the traffic, so she asked some nearby otters to climb up onto the bridge and cuddle. The sight of the cute otters made the drivers, including the truck driver, come skidding to a halt. Destiny used her trail to flip Dory up towards the bridge. An otter caught Dory and opened the truck back doors and put her inside. The plan had worked. Inside the truck, Dory was surprised to see Hank. He had sneaked on the board. He lifted Dory into the tank with Merlin and Nemo. "You come back!" cried Nemo. "Of course," Dory said. "I couldn't leave my family." But just then, Destiny called from the ocean to tell Dory that the traffic at the front of the hold up was starting to move again. Merlin had a plan. He called to Becky, who arrived and scooped Merlin and Nemo into her bucket. "No, no, wait!" cried Merlin. "We don't have Dory." But Becky didn't stop. She dropped Merlin and Nemo into the ocean. Merlin told Becky to go back and get Dory, so she headed back to the truck. In the ocean, Merlin and Nemo met Destiny and Bailey. Then Merlin spotted two blue tanks with them, was amazed. They were Dory's parents. Becky landed in the truck and Hank reached for Dory to put her in the bucket, but Dory stopped him. "You are not going to Cleveland," she said. "You are coming to the ocean with me." Hank wasn't sure at first, but Dory soon convinced him that living with friends was much better than being alone in a tank. But just then the driver slammed the back door shut. Dory, Hank, and Becky were trapped inside. Hank slipped out of the truck through a vent and spread himself across the windshield. The shock driver pulled over and got out. Hank climbed into the driver's seat and locked the doors. Hank grabbed Dory from the tank and plopped her into a cup of water on the dashboard. Then, as the driver yelled from the side of the road, Hank started to drive the truck. "Hank," said Dory, "I'm going to ask you to do something crazy." Hank smiled. He knew what to do. Back in the water, Dory's family watched as Hank drove the truck off the bridge into the ocean. The doors flew open and all the fish spilled out into the waves. They were free. Merlin, Nemo, Dory headed back home across the ocean. They took all their new family and friends with them. Hank, Destiny, Bailey, and Dory's parents all lived together in their new home. Dory was happier than she had ever been. She could now swim of her own sometimes because she always remembered how to get back to her huge family. "I will see you in well, guys," Dory said one day. "I have got something I want to do." But Merlin still worried that Dory would get lost, so he followed her. He stayed a good distance behind so that Dory wouldn't see him. He watched as they swam to the edge of the reef and looked out at the ocean. "Hey, Merlin," said Dory. She somehow knew he was there. "Oh," said Merlin. "Hello, Dory." Merlin joined Dory and they gazed out into the blue. "Wow, it's quite a view," said Merlin. "Yep," replied Dory. So is this one, Merlin said as he turned round and saw that everyone else had followed Dory too. Dory looked back at her whole family and smiled. Unforgettable, she said. Now, this is the end of the story. Finding Dory. Do you like it? Then comment it. Subscribe my channel. Bye bye.